My name's Colin. Welcome to my workshop. Today's video is going to be a review of this Pinnacle MIG machine. So this is really quite a budget machine. It's the Pinnacle 165, and I'll do a review on the unboxing and the use of it. I'm not a welder, so this is a review from an amateur starting out. I usually use TIG. I've never used MIG before, so this is a first for me. So it might be interesting to see how easy it is to MIG or how difficult, and I will take you on the journey with me. So please join me for this review. So this is a little MIG. It's a Pinnacle 165. Roll of wire, the normal stick welding electrodes, the little MIG torch, and this is the machine. Instructions. So this machine can do MIG welding and flux core welding. So flux core is just MIG welding without the gas. So there's a gas connection for the normal MIG, and there's a setting at the front to say gas or flux core. And with a flux core, the electrode must be negative. So there's a positive and a negative terminal here. Okay, so what happens is you plug this in. Like that. And we want electrode negative, so this is the electrode, so this goes into the negative. And the ground goes in there. So this is your voltage setting. So it's, understand that it runs normally at 20 volts, and you can boost it by plus 2 volts or reduce it by minus 2 volts. Normally the default setting would be in the middle. On this side is your wire speed, which is also your current. So there is MIG with CO2, MIG with a mixed gas, flux core, TIG and normal stick. So we want flux core. You load the wire on here. This is the wire feeder. Take this off. Feeding wheel. So it's got a 1 millimeter feed on that side and a 0.8 feed on that side. So I got 0.9 millimeter wire, so I'm going to use the 1 millimeter. Okay. Turning the current down to 0. So you can see the speed that it's turning. Now if I turn the current up, so that's current on maximum. You can see it's going a lot faster. So this is 0.9 millimeter wire and it's flux core. So this is a 0.9 millimeter tip. So I've taken the tip off for now. Okay, to get this thing, you push this in, it comes off. This is the wire. Put that on. Put the spring on. And this is just like a little bayonet fitting. So that spring gives just the right amount of pressure on this drum so that it doesn't spin. Okay. Alright, so cut that off. Okay, so it's right through now into that side. Okay, so now I can feed it through with a gun. Right, there it's come through. Okay, let's see. Okay, so that's tacked up on the two ends. So that was 80 amps. I'm going to go up to 100. Also there's flux on there now. Well, it's definitely welded. So that is the first weld I've ever done with a MIG machine. Lots of splatter and spluttering. So I don't know, maybe one should go a little slower. So I'm leaving like 12 millimeters stick out. So this is a 3 millimeter angle line. What's that? About 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to go to 120. 120, let's see what it does. I think it might be too much, but I'm just going to push the envelope here. Go to 150. I think it's way too high, but anyway. So 160 is the maximum of this little machine. Alright, let's get back down to around 80. Certainly welds. But I think it'll take a bit of practice to get to look like a decent weld. So what happens if we change the voltage here? So I'm turning the voltage down. Turning the voltage up. Putting the voltage back to normal. Okay, so the lower voltage seems to make a higher peak. Higher voltage goes flatter, and this one is normal, which is kind of between the two. So it's probably more penetration, I would think. All right. low voltage, higher voltage, middle. But I think it needs a bit of practice. Okay, so I've got a couple of scrap pieces here, and you can see I've cleaned them up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark one side, and the side that I mark I'm going to spray with anti-spatter. And maybe this whole thing here. So this side has got anti-spatter, this side is nothing. This side with X anti-spatter, this side nothing. Put that out of the way. I've got the machine set at 80 and the voltage I've put on in the middle. Let's get a tack on the one side. Tack on the other side. Okay, so the side with the anti-spatter on is looking a bit better than the other one. I think the anti-spatter did work a little bit. So this side did the anti-spatter. This is the stuff I'm using. A little tack. Okay. So with these, because it's rounded over, there is actually a little void here. So I'm going to go through and see that if I can fill that up. So I'm going to increase the current. I'm going to go to 100 amps. So the wire is going to go faster. So let's see how that goes. It's the side with the anti-spatter. Okay, so I mean that weld is not bad. So that was at 100 amps. I think it actually worked better. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this video and the review on this machine. I've been using the machine for a couple of days now, making some garden gates. It'll be a future video. So my final thoughts. Does this machine do a good weld? I would say the machine does a good weld. I think I don't do such a good weld yet, so I've got a lot of practice still to get under the belt. And as I've said before, I'm not a welder, I'm quite a novice at this. So the perspective of this review is from a novice's standpoint. One criticism that I have is that the lead on the gun to me is very short. And I know that probably most of the budget machines have quite short leads. I think it's got something to do with the pinch rollers and pushing the wire through and the friction that is in there. So the longer the lead is, the more friction there is. But even a half a meter longer on this lead would make a huge difference. But overall, would I recommend this machine to people? Definitely. Money-wise, value for money, it is a great machine. And so far, I've been very impressed with it. Okay, so thank you for watching this video, and please join me on my next one.